There are mysteries that shake the very core of what we know. Cases so bizarre, so unsettling, that even decades later, they remain unsolved. Tonight, we unravel 4 of the most chilling mysteries in history. A group of hikers found dead under impossible circumstances in the frozen wilderness. A man with a cryptic code in his pocket, his identity lost to time. A village that vanished into thin air, leaving behind no trace of life. And a woman whose very presence in a hospital room sent doctors collapsing to the floor. These stories are not just strange. They defy logic, science, and reason itself. Let's begin our journey with one of the most infamous cold cases in history, an event so eerie that it still haunts investigators today. This is the Dyatlov Pass incident. It was supposed to be an adventure. A group of 9 experienced hikers set off into the icy wilderness of the Ural Mountains in 1959, prepared for extreme conditions. But what they weren't prepared for was death. When rescuers finally found them weeks later, the scene was something out of a nightmare. Their tent ripped open from the inside, as if they had fled in terror. Their bodies scattered across the snow, some nearly naked, as if they had no time to dress. And then, the details became even stranger. Some were found with cracked skulls and crushed ribs, yet with no external wounds. One was missing her tongue. Others had traces of radiation on their clothing. And then, there was the last haunting clue, their final photograph. A blurry image snapped in the darkness of something. A shadowy figure? A trick of the light? No one knows. What could have caused this terror? A violent avalanche? But that wouldn't explain the injuries. A military experiment gone wrong? Secret Soviet weapons? Or something even stranger? Some claim the hikers saw something they were never meant to see. Something unnatural. The case was quickly closed by Soviet authorities, blaming an unknown compelling force. But what force could drive 9 people to flee barefoot into sub-zero temperatures, never to return? The Dyatlov Pass incident remains a frozen enigma, but it is far from the only mystery that refuses to die. Up next, a well-dressed man found dead on a beach, with no identity, no cause of death, and a single cryptic clue hidden in his pocket. Stay with me. December 1st, 1948. The sun rises over Somerton Beach in Australia. The air is crisp, the waves whisper against the shore, but something is off. A man is found lying against the sea wall, dressed in a sharp suit, polished shoes. At first glance, he looks like he's sleeping, but he isn't. He's dead. He has no wallet, no ID, no labels on his clothes, each tag carefully removed. His pockets hold a half-smoked cigarette, a used bus ticket, and something strange, a tiny rolled-up scrap of paper. On it, 2 words, written in elegant script, Tamam shud, a Persian phrase. It means, it is finished. The coroner finds no wounds, no signs of struggle, no clear cause of death. It's as if he simply stopped living. The mystery deepens. Days later, detectives search a train station and find a suitcase linked to the man. Inside, a strange thread not sold in Australia, a stencil brush, a coat with American tailoring. And then, another discovery, a rare book of Persian poetry, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, found in a stranger's car. Someone had ripped a piece from its final page. That missing piece? It matches the Tamam shud note in the dead man's pocket. But that's not all. On the back of the book, faintly imprinted, is a sequence of letters, an undeciphered code. A secret message, a spy code, a lover's note, no one knows. To this day, experts have never cracked it. Who was the Somerton man? A secret agent silenced forever? A heartbroken lover who chose to die on the sand? Or something else entirely? His body was embalmed, buried in an unmarked grave. But his story? It is far from finished. A man with no name, a code with no key, and now a village with no people. Up next, we travel to Canada, where an entire settlement vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a single chilling clue. The year is 1930. The Canadian wilderness stretches endlessly, a frozen, untouched expanse of white. Somewhere deep within it lies a quiet Inuit village by the shores of Anjikuni Lake. A place of warmth, of life, of stories passed down through generations. But one evening, a trapper named Joe LaBelle arrives, expecting to find familiar faces, friendly greetings. Instead, he finds nothing. The village is completely deserted. Cabins stand open, untouched, as if their occupants had simply walked away mid-task. A pot of stew still sits over a long dead fire, frozen solid. Weapons are left behind, food untouched. Even the dogs, the sled dogs, found dead, still tied to their posts, starved despite food being within reach. LaBelle searches every home, calling out, his voice swallowed by the wind. No footprints leading away, no signs of a struggle. It's as if the entire village simply ceased to exist. LaBelle rushes to the nearest telegraph station, sending an urgent message to the authorities. A search party arrives days later, combing through the empty village. What they find chills them to their core. At the edge of the village, a graveyard. The graves open, dug up, empty. Someone or something had taken the dead. Was it mass abduction? A supernatural force? Some claim the villagers were taken by sky beings. Strange lights had been seen in the sky for days before the disappearance. Others say it was something older, something ancient. The Wendigo, a spirit of the land reclaiming what was once its own. To this day, no trace of the Anjikuni villagers has ever been found. No bones, no remains, no answers. A village wiped from existence, an entire community vanished. But sometimes, a mystery doesn't take people away. It brings something horrifying in. Up next, a woman arrives at a hospital, her body emitting a strange, toxic fume. Within minutes, doctors collapse, gasping for air. And then, she dies. But her case? It is far from closed. This is the story of the Toxic Lady. February 19th, 1994. Riverside General Hospital, California. A routine emergency call. A woman in distress. Paramedics rush in with 31-year-old Gloria Ramirez. She's confused, struggling to breathe. Her heartbeat is erratic. The ER staff prepares for immediate treatment. But then, something happens, something that defies all logic. As doctors begin their examination, they notice something bizarre. Ramirez's skin is oily. Her breath has a strange garlicky smell. Then one nurse notices something even stranger. Her blood, it smells like ammonia. A doctor draws a sample, holding the syringe to the light. Inside, strange particles, tiny shimmering crystals floating in her blood. And then, one by one, they start to collapse. First, the nurse closest to Ramirez, then another, then another. Within minutes, the ER becomes a disaster zone. Staff members fainting, gasping for air, some experiencing muscle spasms and paralysis. A mass evacuation is ordered. The hospital staff retreats outside, leaving only a skeleton crew in hazmat suits to stabilize Ramirez. But at 8:50 p.m., she's gone. Gloria Ramirez is pronounced dead. What happened inside that ER room? Official reports suggest a rare chemical reaction caused by Ramirez's medication. Others believe she had been unknowingly exposed to toxic chemicals before arriving. And then, there are the wilder theories. Bioweapons. Government experiments. A case of spontaneous human toxicity. But here's what makes it even stranger. The people who fainted that night? Some suffered lingering symptoms for weeks. And yet, no definitive cause was ever found. 4 cases. 4 impossibilities. A group of hikers fleeing into the frozen unknown. A man with no identity and a cryptic message. A village wiped off the face of the earth. And a woman whose body turned toxic. With no explanation. The world is full of mysteries. Some we can explain. Others remain just beyond our grasp. What do you believe? Were these strange events the result of science we don't yet understand? Or something more? Let's keep the conversation going. Have you heard of similar unsolved cases? Drop a comment below with your thoughts and theories. And if you love diving into the unknown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There are more mysteries waiting to be uncovered. And who knows? The next one might be even closer than you think.